In today's news, the body of a male found at Greenland East End. The BVI's second road fatality of 2022 identified as 22-year-old male, and legislation in the pipeline to increase powers of all law enforcers at the sea. And Cindy Rosan says government's unity dinner lacked diversity. Viewers, these and more stories when 284 News return.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, I can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What do you really? Hey, this ain't like you,
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Well, welcome everyone. It's Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. I'm Kamal Haynes, coming to you live from the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Well, a happy Tuesday to one and all, and thank you so much for joining us. Well, viewers, we start today's newscast on yet another sad note. On an unresponsive body of a male who is feared to be dead, who subsequently was pronounced dead, was found at the Greenland East End Tortola. Initial reports to our news station revealed that just after 11 a.m., the body was discovered in close proximity to the cricket ground, while our Ron Grant was there on the scene.
Today I am at the scene of the Greenland cricket field where a body of a male unidentified individual was located this morning. Now investigators are still on the scene at the moment, and the family relatives of the individual have not been notified. Now we do not know the circumstance surrounding the death of the individual. Of course, we do not know if foul play is in any way related. However, we can confirm, as you can see, investigators, members of staff of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force are behind me doing their investigations, and we will of course bring you more on the story as it becomes available. Reporting for 284 News, I'm Ron Grant.
Well, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force subsequently released a statement confirming the incident, where they said, and I quote, "Well, police can confirm an unresponsive male was found near the bleachers on the Greenland playing field. He was subsequently pronounced dead at the scene." Well, the police continued, circumstances surrounding his death is unknown at this time. No marks of violence were observed, end quote. Well, police said investigations are ongoing in the matter. Moving on, viewers, where the deceased in Monday's morning road fatality has been identified as 22-year-old Keandre Burke of Lower Estate, Tortola. Well, this was confirmed by the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force in a media statement earlier today. Well, the police also revealed that they have requested the assistance of external law enforcement agencies to investigate the road fatality, which also involved a police motor vehicle. Well, in a media release, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force said that the local law enforcers, and I quote, has elected to remain neutral and impartial in this investigation, end quote. Well, according to police, officers were at the scene responding to a medical emergency and were traveling along Pickering Street when the collision occurred. Well, they say the scooter rider who was pronounced dead at the scene was exiting the Botanic Station Road and onto Pickering Street. Well, this incident marks the second road fatality for the year 2022, with the first occurring on March 1st involving a motor vehicle and a scooter in Havers, Tortola. Well, viewers, moving on to our final story before the break, where government will soon be introducing legislation which will legally authorize all government enforcement agencies with the ability to issue tickets to marine vessels while patrolling out at sea. Well, this is according to the director of the BVI Shipping Registry, Mr. John Samuel, who made a disclosure during a recent press conference. He said that presently the Customs Department is the only body that legally can issue tickets to marine vessels.
We lean heavily on customs as well, because the teeth of the enforcement mechanism is with customs. We do not yet have those type of teeth. We've had them approved by cabinet. the AG's Chambers is preparing the legislation so that all government enforcement agencies will in the future be able to issue tickets on the water for non-compliance. So we are making those improvement steps.
Well, Director Samuel also stressed on the importance of the incoming legislation, adding that some charter companies in the industry have been abusing the gaps within the system through the use of deception.
Shipping Registry and Customs have developed a closer partnership. We work very closely together. Shipping Registry and Customs communicates multiple times every day because our processes are interlinked. And in order to be able to serve the customer efficiently, we need to be in communication and know what's happening on both sides. It's also important that we communicate and maintain a relationship because the industry is not all saints, and some players in the industry attempt to walk in the gap between Shipping Registry and Customs. They will tell Customs, Shipping Registry has my documents, hold up. They go to Customs and they come to Shipping Registry and they tell Shipping Registry something else about Customs. Sometimes they have not even submitted any documents. And that has been part of the enforcement gap. Mr. Smith and I have been working very closely together. We've been able to close that gap, and I think that is where you've seen more requirement for compliance in the industry.
Well, Samuel also said that one of the main challenges which has been plaguing his agency is getting the necessary documentation from companies to prove ownership of vessels seeking licensing or certification. He said this has resulted in several delays in some charter companies getting their vessels fully in compliance with the BVI maritime laws.
A lot of the challenges that the industry has had relates to documentation. We have a lot of documentation challenges, and the world is in an era now where your documentation has to be straight. We have now, as a territory, to review sanctions lists and make sure BVI is in compliance, and we have to know who the owners are, who the operators are of these vessels, and we've had challenges with the industry broadly in submitting documentation, and that creates some delays in the system. But at the end of the day, Shipping Registry cannot issue a certificate to someone who cannot prove that they are in legal possession of the vessel, one, and secondly, that the owner has authorized them to use that vessel for commercial work. And that has been some of those documentation challenges have created some of the delays in the system as well.
Well, viewers, up next, Cindy Rosan says government's unity dinner lacked diversity, and justice for Jaimez candlelight vigil held against gun violence. Well, these and more stories after a word from our sponsors.
There's a reason you get up on a morning. A reason you pick yourself up, start the day. Maybe it's sheer grit. Maybe it's your ethics. Maybe it's because you know people like you are waiting. For people just like you. We all have our reasons, and for Republic Bank, that reason is you. Every little thing, every big thing. It's all about making a difference in your life. Because after 182 years, if it's one thing we're sure about, is that the difference is you. We're here to help.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Hello?
Wait, you had a lunch and you say you were sick? What happened to over the rehearsal?
No, babe. I'm actually watching the news right now. Take a listen.
Topping our newscast today, UFOs seen around Tortola Pier Park.
And District 3 residents outraged over no water supply. They simply cannot bathe. These and more stories when 284 News returns.
Alright, babe, just get some rest, take 2 Advil, and I'll
See you later. Bye.
Okay, honey. I see you later. I love you.
It's clear to see that Coconut Lounge is a place to be, the coolest cocktail lounge in the British Virgin Islands, a lounge like no other, with welcoming, professional service and a breathtaking ambiance, not forgetting a diverse selection of wines, beers, and signature cocktails. Cozy, comfortable, contemporary. Coconut Lounge at Tortola Pier Park. Visit us today.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, in tonight's upcoming episode of Cut Deep, host Cindy Rosan, who has announced her candidacy in the upcoming elections, has said that the government's annual Caribbean Unity Dinner can be considered racist. Viewers, take a look at that comment.
For the second year, the government has celebrated our Caribbean brothers and sisters through a unity dinner that happened on Saturday night. I think this function happened. It was on Saturday night. I want to be particularly careful on how I address this topic, but I also want to be myself. I have no problem in celebrating people that have contributed to the development of the BVI, to our successes. What I do have a problem with is the separation of celebration. In that I mean, we have a wide range of demographics or persons living amongst us here in the BVI. In addition to, of course, Virgin Islanders, I find it divisive to select just a particular people to celebrate. It's almost tethering on racist, if you ask me. Racist, prejudice, all those words come into play for me. And it doesn't ring well to me. If we're going to celebrate people that have contributed to a place or society, should we not just select persons overall and celebrate them, period? Why do we have to select a particular people and do it in a particular place? And where did the invitations go out? Who was invited? Who, there was nothing really around this. You didn't know it was happening. If somebody called you and said that it was happening, you can come or whatever. It's almost like it's done in secret.
Well, according to a government press conference release regarding last year's Caribbean Unity Dinner, the event is said to be the vision of the Deputy Premier and Minister for Education, Dr. the Honorable Natalio Wheatley. But the minister said that the reason for the event was that he saw, and I quote, the need to bring Virgin Islanders and the various Caribbean nationalities together as they are stronger when they are unified as a community, end quote. For the viewers to see the rest of Cindy Rosan's commentary, tune in to tonight's Cut Deep program on 284 Media at 8 p.m. Well, viewers, moving on, where on Saturday, the 19th of March 2022, a candlelight vigil was held at the Queen Elizabeth Park II, honoring the life of Jaimez Stout, who was gunned down in Crystal's nightclub December 11, 2021. Well, the Justice for Jaimez Committee, along with other supporters, gathered in support of the event, which was held under the theme Voices Against Gun Violence, and saw performances and speakers from all across the Virgin Islands. Participants included members of the clergy, elected officials, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, Rotary Club, Peace Building, MALE, with impact statements from family members and mothers of victims. A Premier of the Virgin Islands spoke to the government's move to implement an amnesty on all guns for 2 weeks in the first instance in an effort to get guns off the street.
I'm here to say that after being encouraged very heavily by Honorable Neville Smith, who's away on official business, I approached the National Security Council and graciously has been approved by the Commissioner and the Governor, the Deputy Premier and all of us to have an amnesty on guns. The Commissioner will be announcing very soon when it will start, which is very soon, and we start with 2 weeks for every single person in this territory to turn in your guns without any questions asked. We'll be using also persons in the community who persons look up to and make sure that we have them fully organized and given the rights to do so by the Commissioner to also be the ones to bring them in. and we'll reanalyze it after 2 weeks and even decide to extend it some more. That is a start to get the guns off the street. Because every time you lose someone to gun violence, a mother is crying. Every time you lose someone to gun violence, a father is crying. Every time you lose someone to gun violence, either a sister or brother is crying, a grandmother is crying, a grandfather is crying. But worse yet, in this case, a child is crying.
Well, viewers, that was the Premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Andrew A. Foy. But also speaking during the ceremony was Commissioner of Police, Mr. Mark Collins, who spoke to the need to speak up.
I want to give my thanks for two things from the outset. I'm grateful for the efforts of Ms. Leonard Walters and the family and friends of Jaimez Stout for this gathering, for bringing so many people here this evening, and to bring awareness to the tragic circumstances which led not to only Jaimez's death, but also to many other young people that have died senselessly due to violence in the territory. I'm also most grateful that you've invited me to speak this evening as well. This is the start of it. This is the start of the turn back. This is a true indication of what it's going to take to turn things around in the community, and it will take all of you, all of my officers, and everyone in the community to make this happen. It needs to be a joint effort to bring true change, and we have to say enough is enough. We have to determine that we will do all what it takes to make sure another life is not lost due to gun violence. Over the last few months, my officers have seized nearly 50 guns, but there are more out there. Mrs. Leonard Walters, I'm so very sorry about the loss of your son, and I know your heart breaks every time you will think of him. I know also that goes for many of you out there that have lost members of your family due to violence. And too many times it is over a minor dispute or disagreement, something so stupid that can be resolved. I've also heard it said that guns don't kill people, people do. And this is true. But guns in circulation can spark the wildest actions that any mild-mannered young person could not resist. And my point here is never ever is there any justification for carrying a firearm, because nobody wins in the end. All of us unanimously must strongly condemn the few who keep these weapons in order to make our communities safe again. And we as a police service have a role to play, but we cannot do it alone, because the answers are out there in the community. Of all of the unsolved cases that we've got, the answers are in the community, and it's down to me to make sure that you've got the trust and confidence in the police service to come forward and speak to us.
Well, viewers, one of the most impactful moments was hearing from the mother and relatives of others who also lost their lives due to gun violence.
And good afternoon to my sister who lost her son. I know it's a hard feeling because I'm feeling it unto now. My son was killed 205 years. And up to now, I would sit down and I would cry. He was a nice boy to me. But they take him and I have to satisfy. A lot of people just tell me I am strong, but not me. It's God. So my dear sister, I'm begging you and I'm telling you, depend on God, and He would bring that one who does that job to justice. I still waiting. It's 17 years, but don't give up. I'm still waiting for that one to come to justice. And so I have to say to you tonight, trust God, and He will do the rest. Amen. Amen.
Well, viewers, it was noted that some 26 persons fell victim to gun violence in the territory of the Virgin Islands between the period of 2017 and 2022. Well, according to the organizers, the primary objectives of the event were to, 1, raise community awareness on the subject, 2, demand justice for victims of gun violence. 3, demand legislative reform. And 4, celebrate the birth date of the recently slain Jaimez Stout. Our viewers, up next, Shaina Smith-Archer addresses education and Branson Center Entrepreneur Accelerator program announced. But these stories when 284 News return.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Brilliant Hands and Minds tutoring services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this breaking CCT Live update.
Hello listeners, thank you for joining. I'm Ron Grant reporting for 284 News out of Tortola in the British Virgin Islands with this very special breaking news report. Since the start of 2022, customers have been taking advantage of the 1-month free trial for CCT Live TV and signing up for Fire Fiber Internet. Residents Kyra Powell, Massa Hickinbottom, Carly Cartel, and others have taken to social media to heap praise on CCT for the fiber internet and CCT Live TV. However, we have just been told that the 1-month free trial for CCT Live TV will finish at the end of March. Customers are asked and being advised to go to CCT today and take advantage of this deal before it goes away. Reporting for 284 News out of Tortola in the British Virgin Islands, I'm Ron Grant.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, Shaina Smith-Archer, who recently confirmed that she intends to contest the next BVI general election, stated that some suggestions for the BVI education system at a government-sponsored education symposium held as part of the Education Week 2022 recently. Well, viewers, take a look at some of her comments.
I'll start by saying all is not lost, and I think Ms. George very well articulated that. I am a product of the public school system. And I feel that I was equipped to be successful in life based on my education experience up to high school. The system has never been perfect, but the evidence is there that it produced responsible citizens that are contributing right now to all aspects of our societies several decades later. While it is difficult to plan with certainty for the unknown, in faith we must plan nonetheless. We will use our calculus skills to figure out the X's and Y's as we go, right? Malcolm X said that education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. People are our country's greatest natural resource, and the education system plays a critical role in making sure that people are equipped for life, and as a result, the country thrives. Persons being able to make even just a living wage and have a good quality of life is rooted in the education process and is a baseline for measuring national success. In answering the question about how we prepare our children for the future, I would pose the question, what are the students learning to make them leaders? In engineering, we would view the school system as a component of the education system, which is vast and complex. For example, the first educators in a child's life are their family circle and wider community. By the time they hear a school bell, there are some things they need to unlearn before laying a foundation that will be built on over the next 10 to 12 years. And hopefully at the end of this process, we should have a young adult ready and empowered to continue to build our country and the world. Apart from the school system of curricula, methodology, teachers, and facilities, NGOs like the Girl Guides and the Sunday School were components of the education system that I grew up in and helped reinforce life skills. This may not be the same experience of many of our students today, and we must ask ourselves why. And how do we shift back to the village raising its children? We must look for the root causes of the problems in the system in order to solve them. If our goals are to bring our education system into the 21st century, help every student realize their potential, and develop well-rounded citizens that become the workforce and business leaders that our economy needs, we must broaden the scope of the reform. We should plan comprehensively and continuously improve by listening to our teachers. What works frequently and streamline those things that don't contribute value. So I ran a list in terms of just touching on a few things. What do they need to learn? For me as an engineer, STEM is a big thing. You know, I remember when I went off to college, I actually hadn't decided to become an engineer as yet. Because again, we weren't being counseled or coached when it came to what were the career opportunities that we should study for. I think it's important also for us to become more multilingual. VI history and culture, you guys know me, I preach that from every tower. It is important for us to know our history, because if you don't know, you will repeat the same mistakes. So we have to have that as part of what we're learning. Civics, morals, after-school programs that teach life skills, teamwork, conflict resolution, money management, critical thinking, work ethic. And what is needed? More cohesion amongst the supporting actors, the library system, the NGOs, sports, church, in essence, the village. Adult learning system is also needed for lifelong learning. Sometimes we think of, after the degrees, even at tertiary, that should be it. But we should always be encouraging our population to be constantly learning and upgrading their skills, such as what Attorney Lisa said. Career counseling, job placement for national scholarship recipients, recruitment of the diaspora, because again, educating us, and then when we come home, we are working jobs where we were not trained for, is very frustrating. And as a result, I can safely say, over the course of my generation, there's a brain drain in our society, because we don't understand the amount of value that is actually in other people's countries right now, contributing. Student mentoring and succession planning and leadership development. I look forward to seeing the various projects for these educational outcomes that we desire to see over the short and the long term, because generations unborn are counting on us to get it right. Thank you.
Well, viewers, that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
You value traditions. Today, you value music. You value education. Family. I love you. Service.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Livestream cable TV is here with CCT Live. Access over 80 channels that you can watch either at home or when you're on the go. And don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Rewind and watch in your own time. Come to CCT today and ask about our 1-month free trial offer. CCT Live. Bring it home.